Arsenal didn't just win today. They sent a message to the rest of the Premier League. 5 goals and a domineering performance dripping with Premiership title winning intent. Down. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream for match reaction victory over Leeds United. That was quite a performance from Arsenal. We expected them to go all guns blazing against Leeds, and they did not disappoint. Leeds actually came to the Emirates. Daniel Farker, their manager, said something about not wanting to pack the bus. And yeah, he kept to his word, but he was heavily spanked for it. They were absolutely torn apart by the team. Mikel Arteta's players did so well, and what makes it more important is the fact that, one, it was a clean victory. We also got a clean sheet, and these are the kind of things that we hope for. So, looking at the confirmed lineups, the only major difference was the introduction of Noni Madueke into the starting lineup ahead of Gabriel Martinelli. I actually thought I might start the game, but then again, clear that this season we are going to be very unpredictable, and I guess we really got a glimpse of that unpredictability with Madueke starting ahead of Martinelli. The team had the usual look about it, with the likes of David Riot starting in goal. Of course, we had Ricardo Calafiori start ahead of Luis Kelly. I think this might just be the pecking order for the new campaign. But with the manager stating about the fact that we are going to be a bit dynamic, I would expect to see games where Luis Kelly might actually start. With White having a knock, he was replaced by Jurrien. And of course, we know Timber hasn't been really fit on his own too, but it was good to see him get some valuable game time. In the center of the defense, we had the rock-solid combination of Gabriel and William Saliba. In midfield, we had Declan Rice playing in the box-to-box role. Martin Zubimendi starting in his usual anchor role, number 6, while Martin Odegaard played as the right 8. And of course, in attack, we had Viktor Gyökeres lead the line with Kai Havertz suffering a knee injury. Now, at the point of time of this stream, we're not certain of what the prognosis of that injury is going to be, but you just have to keep waiting to see how that pans out. Of course, we had Bukayo Saka in the right wing, and Noni Madueke starting ahead of Martinelli on the left. As for the visiting side, Leeds United started with their keeper Perry, and their basically makeshift backline that is now like a consistent backline I've been using so far, with Patrick Stroik playing alongside Joe Rodon. New signing Goodmanson played on the left side, while Jaden Boyle Bugu played on the right. Of course, we had Ilya Gruev in the defensive midfield. He's actually deputizing for the captain, Ethan Ampadu, who is still injured. Then we have their usual wingers with Edmonto and Daniel James playing on both flanks. Behind him was Tanaka and Stark. So this was the lineup that we expected to see, and the game itself was very interesting. It was good to see Arsenal unveil Iberici Eze prior to kickoff. Arsenal's number 10 has finally come, and I was just so glad to see that deal had been made official. Yes, obviously, it was not going to be ready enough to start against Leeds United. But what's key is to note that, we've gotten our man. He was about to join Tottenham Hotspurs, and Arsenal, pulled the coup. It's serious Campbell-like move, and obviously he's happy to be in the club. You could see so much about, the word he said when he joined, the club. Arteta, Beta, they've all made their statements as well as you would expect when a new signing joins the club, and there are some good things to say about him. And obviously, you can go to a few cover that out. So let's have a quick recap. So for the match recap, it was quite interesting. Leeds actually had some good chances early on with David Raya. making a very good save. But Arsenal actually took the initiative when Jurrien Timber scored the first goal, and the first goal came from uh, a set piece. We have been used to always having our set pieces, and it was good to see another one coming this time. Declan Rice swung an amazing ball from the right hand side. Declan Rice swung an amazing ball from the right hand side. Hey, Victor, can you off that radio? Declan Rice swung an amazing ball from the right hand side, and it was top by Timber. Timber was not one of the tallest guys in the team, but you could see that he was part of the program. Launched very high, picked his spot, and nodded it into the goal, and that's an amazing goal for him. Then, of course, just before the stroke of halftime, Bukayo Saka scored an amazing goal from the edge of the box. Timber found him with a very cute and lovely pass. And he already knew what he intended to do before even shooting the ball. It was an amazing shot that went past Perry goal. Perry didn't even expect to see what happened there. And of course, as you'd expect, that was a good goal from Saka. So going into halftime, Arsenal were leading 2 goals up. Then, of course, in the second half, the rout continued. And again, it was Viktor Gyökeres this time, scoring his first ever Arsenal goal. He lost into a pass from Calafiori at the edge of the area. And this was the specific type of goal that he scores in Sporting CP. Moved to the edge, took his man, and blasted it to the near post. And obviously, you could see the load go off him. The pressure was finally off. He has finally scored his first Arsenal goal. And of course, the marks came out, and the fans were so happy to see that happen. And of course, Timber, yet again, was on the end of another set piece. But this time it was more like, like pinball pretty much in the box. Calafiori was the last man to touch the ball, and eventually, he poked it in to make it 4-0. There was a long VAR check. Well, even if it's VAR check, the officials ruled it correctly, and it was a goal. And of course, late in the game, the exciting McDonald just did basically a deja vu. The same style he used to get a penalty against Villarreal, against Newcastle, and now on his Premier League debut, he won a penalty against Leeds. Declan Rice held up the ball for Viktor Gyökeres, who went and blasted his team home to make it 5-0. So that was an amazing performance from the team. And I think I want to take some time out to talk about some specific players to see how they panned out. David Raya, as always, was excellent in goal, had that amazing save which really helped the team. But of course, the main heroes for tonight were Viktor Gyökeres and Jurrien Timber. Timber is not someone that doesn't score much goals for the club, but obviously you can see how monumental this was for him. And I'm so glad to see him, do his thing. So let's look at the player ratings. I would start with David Raya. He has a 7 for me. It was a good, steady performance. He didn't have to do so much, but at least when he was called upon, he came through. Calafiori had a very good game. In addition to scoring a goal last week against Manchester United, he has now laid on 2 assists for his teammates, making it 1-2 games. With that kind of form, it will be difficult to see Marcelo Skelly come back to the side. But, it's also good for Calafiori. Last season, he didn't really play as much as he would have liked, citing injury issues among other things. But it's good to see him finally get, an extended run out in the team, and he's doing so well. On the other side, I give Jurrien Timber a 10. If you scored 2 goals and lay an assist with a clean sheet in a game, you have to get the maximum points for ratings. Imagine those folks who have Timber in their fantasy teams. I'm sure they'll be buzzing where they are right now with the amount of amazing goals that he has scored, which is a good thing. I think he must have 19 points in fantasy if anyone had him in their team. Gabriel gets a 7. Another simple, steady game from him. You know how it is with Gabriel doing his thing. He has already won the band after the band was Char and Odegaard when they were subbed out, more on that and on. Of course, Saliba gets a 7. I love that crunching tackle he did when Leeds were trying to go on the transition. It has been amazing for us as always. A very simple performance that you would expect with nonchalance. Zubimendi gets a 7. That was a good game from Zubimendi. He actually did what we expected from him in midfield. Held his own well, showed great movement, showed class, and of course progressed the play so well. Odegaard gets a 7, but he didn't finish the game. He had a very bad landing from an infringement, and of course it kind of affected his performance. But prior to that, he was actually playing very well, and I give that to him. Declan Rice gets an 8 from me. The assist for the goal was spectacular. Declan Rice, his delivery has always been top notch, and that has not changed. And of course, he had a very instrumental game as he progressed, helping the team, doing what he does best. And of course, Bukayo Saka gets an 8. I feel so sad for him with the injury he got from that pass. And I think Saka is just someone that you can always rely upon to come up with the goods, which is a good thing. And Madueke had a very good debut. Did well on the left wing, cutting a couple of times, going to the byline a couple of times. Showed the predictability that we expect from him. And when Saka was subbed out, he switched to the right flank, which is actually a very big plus for us, bearing in mind that we can have a player that plays on both flanks. Viktor Gyökeres gets a 9. That was a very brilliant performance from him. Obviously, there was so much pressure on him to deliver, bearing in mind that he had played not too well at Old Trafford. He was in front of his home crowd. He was very comfortable, and of course, we expected him to do the needful. And of course, seeing him score the brace was very good. I really loved the first goal, how he took the game on the scruff of his neck, went to the corner, cut in, and blasted it in. That was a very good goal. I'm glad to see that worked out very well. For the substitutes, I would give Waneri a 6. Yes, he replaced Odegaard, but I don't know, I didn't really get that vibe from him. He didn't really influence the game as much as he'd have liked. He had some chances where he had created for his teammates, but he made the wrong decision. And of course, he's still 18. He's still a very young lad, and he has a long future ahead of him. But he need to keep learning as he progresses in his gameplay. Trossard gets a 6. I think he was just on holiday mode, whether he was just basking from the salary increase that he has received. But his performance was not that good, in all honesty. He just had so many times when he had the ball on the left and didn't do much with it. I expected Martinelli to sort of get the run out, but it's good to see Trossard get the run out as well. It clearly shows the kind of depth that we have in the squad. Imagine having Odegaard and Saka. Martinelli didn't even come into the pitch. Mosquera gets a 7. Obviously we need to still manage Jurrien Timber's minutes, bearing in mind that he's not too fully fit and White is still having injury issues. So Mosquera came for the right back. We have already known about the fact that he's very decent playing both as a centre back and as a full back. And he had a very simple game, didn't do much, but the chances here was afforded. Again, you think of the fact that he's a very young lad with so many years ahead of him. So I'm not bothered by that. I'm happy with the fact that he has actually got the opportunity to, play as much games as he can, and he has signed a new contract with the club. He's certainly ahead of Alexander Zinchenko in the pecking order, so that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. About the injury concerns that I have, man, we have a very, very critical game against Liverpool next. So to see Bukayo Saka injury from a pass was very disheartening. And it's looking like it's a repetition from the hamstring injury that he got against Crystal Palace, sidelined him for 4 months. I'm just speculating here. And I truly, it's not as bad as we are assuming. I'm just hoping for that because it wasn't nice to see him drop the way he did. Odegaard's zone was on impact. I'm guessing he has a better chance of probably playing. But then again, I hope he dedicated the shoulder as well. And obviously, yes, we have the right amount now to allay these injury concerns. But I just wish, we could go into the game against Liverpool in Anfield with a bigger squad. And that's just a challenge we're going to have right now and face. But I'm actually happy with the fact that the team has to handle an injury like this. with Saka out injured, if he misses Liverpool by any chance, we can count on Noni Madueke from that wing. And of course, if Odegaard go for the Liverpool game, we can play one area there. We can even play our new signing, Iberichi Eze there. And obviously, we will not be perturbed by it. So it's really good to see that Arsenal is taking a very drastic step to mitigate their injury issues. But I really, really, really hope that Saka and Odegaard are available to play against Liverpool. That is basically going to be like the of the table marker. Yes, it's quite early in the season, but the implications are far-reaching. If Arsenal defeats Liverpool at Anfield, since they have not done in so many years, that would also lift morale, and having our best players gives us the best chance of actually achieving this. So unfortunately, we don't have news. We'll wait for Mikel Arteta to get his medical team. There will certainly be a press conference ahead of the Liverpool game towards the end of the week. So we're going to get a clear picture on what it's going to be like. And finally, I'll just touch on the Premier League table. As it stands, Arsenal are currently on top with 6 points in our first two games, and we have a healthy goal difference of +6. Yes, we scored 1 goal against Manchester United and scored 5 tonight against Leeds. Tottenham is second, following their shock win over Manchester City. Chelsea is third, Liverpool is fourth, City is fifth. So obviously, we have the regular folks staying where they are meant to be. Well, I'm going to talk more on this tomorrow evening. We have our weekly Premier League preview where we talk about the games that have been played. And I've had a couple of guest speakers from Arsenal, from Manchester United, from Chelsea. And we'll all sit down and just have a chat about it. So that's where I'll be cutting up the stream. It's a lot to see how Arsenal are doing so well against Leeds. It was important to lay down a marker ahead of the campaign because this was a very resounding victory that's going to send fear into the opposition. Yes, Leeds chose not to play a low block. They're on undoing, but at the tank to see this through. So till tomorrow, come on, you Gunners.